Welcome to Talking Trash. You're speaking with Lucy from Melbourne from Need a Skip Now. And today we would like to cover one of the hot topics here in waste disposal industry. Why are skip bins so expensive now in Melbourne? This question is being asked from us several times per day, and we thought that it's very important to cover this topic. We are currently in May of 2022, and we have seen price hikes of skip bins several times this year. This is quite unprecedented for us because normally we would set the price in July, new financial year, in in line with a government's increase of EPA levy or waste levy, which is imposed by Victorian government and consequently by landfills such as Cleanaway, Bingo and others. And then we have to consequently adjust our prices for that. Now, this year was no different. In July, the levy was passed, which was actually very big levy to start with. What happened is that government has paused on imposing levy during COVID lockdowns because business was already there was big business uncertainty and they didn't want to put more pressure. So what happened is in July 2021, the EPA levy has gone up almost 40% to compensate for not raising this levy previously. However, once we set our prices, that was not the end of it. There were various factors which affected big suppliers such as Cleanaway as an example, who operates throughout whole Australia, and various issues, for example, floods in New South Wales have impacted on Cleanaway's operation, and storms in Queensland, and all of that caused some damages and delays, which has impacted on operational costs of Cleanaway, which then had to raise their prices. When Cleanaway raises their prices, that increases our disposal costs because once all the waste is separated in our recycling yard, we then have to dispose of waste which can no longer be separated, and that goes to Cleanaway. So when Cleanaway raises their prices, that impacts us as a supplier. So that is first major factor. Second major factor is increased fuel costs, as all the motorists have noticed throughout Australia that since January, February, we have had incredibly sharp hikes of fuel cost. Now, traditionally, many of you would know the cost of diesel, because diesel is what we use in our trucks to transport skip bins and to transport your waste and to operate excavators in our recycling yard. So diesel cost traditionally has been significantly lower than petrol cost for your cars, right? The unprecedented phenomena that we have noticed this year, 2022, is that diesel cost has hiked to such heights that on many days we're now seeing diesel cost is above the petrol cost. That has completely changed the game of transport industry in Australia, and I will be talking specifically for us in Melbourne. However, as Cleanaway operates Australia-wide, fuel costs, first of all, impacted Cleanaway, and they had to factor that massive increase into their price hikes, which happened already a few times during this financial year. So we are not only impacted by Cleanaway rates, but also the fuel price increase that had impact on us as a transport company that transports your skip bins and transports your waste. So fuel costs are a massive contributor to a price of a skip bin, because skip bin needs to be delivered to customer's side. Then it needs to be picked up from customer's side. Then excavators in recycling yard use diesel to operate and separate all the waste. And then we use trucks to then take waste to various recycling facilities such as green waste and concrete and timber and plastic and bricks and metal and cardboard. So all of that goes to and soil. Our biggest waste type is soil, and of course general waste. So as you can imagine, all this waste going to different areas of Melbourne for either further processing and recycling, and this is all transport. So transport is a massive component, and of course that had an incredible impact on prices. Now, one might ask, why did fuel prices go up significantly? There are two major contributors to this. From World Economic Analysis, we've gathered that, first of all, once the world has started recovering from COVID lockdowns, there is more demand on production, and that more demand and not enough supply has pushed the price of the diesel up. Now, second and very significant factor that impacted our diesel prices, fuel prices, is the war in Ukraine. So, because obviously Russia has been a massive supplier of energy to the world, the uncertainty of what's happening in that part of the world, the uncertainty of how long the war will go on, and what will happen to the energy supplies, which affects the whole world now, given that we live in global economy, all of this uncertainty has pushed the diesel prices up. And at the moment, since there is absolutely no indication of when the war in Ukraine will be over, at the moment we see no sign of fuel prices going down. In fact, from some of the articles in the news, we in fact read quite worrying reports that we haven't seen the height of it yet. So fuel prices are set to even go up, definitely not down. That is very concerning, and that also impacts the pockets not only of businesses like ours, such as Skip bin Ha, it impacts the pockets of us as just general consumers in Australia, because all of us, while trucks require diesel, we as normal consumers require fuel for our cars to get your kids to school, to go shopping and go anywhere, to go to your road trips in Australia. So obviously when we spend more on fuel, there is a concern because there is less money left for other consumables. And as you would have noticed, again, I'm going to refer to Victoria, but that's probably happening in all other states of Australia. Unfortunately, the cost of transport has pushed up not only the price of skip bins, but it has pushed up the price of everything, because all of the products, such as products you buy in supermarket or building materials and everything else, is impacted by transport. It needs to be transported by trucks which use fuel, and therefore the cost is high. Now, we have received countless emails, not only from Cleanaway, but also emails from our timber recycling suppliers, our green waste recyclers, and of course soil recyclers, and all of them are raising their prices almost on a monthly basis, and they all quoting fuel price, as we already discussed. And another interesting component is increased labor costs. So that topic is definitely worth mentioning. In the waste industry, traditionally, labor cost was relatively stable and I'm talking about pre-COVID times when travel was free, anyone could enter and exit the country, and we had no shortage of international students and backpackers and different people coming in and out who wanted to work in waste industry and recycling industry on a casual basis while exploring our beautiful country here. However, with obviously COVID restrictions and the end of international travel until now, there was a severe labor shortage because not many people love sorting waste, believe it or not. It's a very tough industry because, for example, in a recycling yard, our team is working outside on a fresh air, but imagine under any weather conditions because bins are being delivered and picked up all year round, whether it's raining, storming, whether it's sunshine or hail. We have to work and recycle your waste, and therefore not many people can sustain working in open air environment, be open to elements. Not everyone is so tough, and we found that the labor shortages impacted not only our business, they have impacted overall industry. Let's not forget the impact of COVID cases, that when people have to do COVID tests and isolate, the labor shortages have impacted all industries. If you are working anywhere in Australia, in Melbourne, you will notice labor shortages in airport where unprecedented queues and cancellation of flights have occurred. During Easter in 2022, we had unbelievable, quote unquote, show time at our Melbourne airport where flights were delayed, flights were cancelled, people had to go home. The staff shortages impacted absolutely every industry, from hospitality to building industry, and our suppliers such as Cleanaway who experience labor shortages, and of course us. And when Cleanaway experience labor shortages, they have to pay existing staff overtime, and of course that increases labor costs, which is then passed on to us as a recycling company, and of course we pass it on to our end consumer, which is our builders and landscapers and residents who clean up their houses. So as you can see, when people ask us, why are your costs so high? Why have they increased? The issue is so complex and has so many different components to it that you cannot answer it in just one sentence. Hence, we've decided to cover this topic here in this episode. We are more than happy to talk to each and every one of you and explain to you in detail why and how. And you can also jump to EPA website here, which covers extensively what are the costs involved in waste disposal. Because when you're dealing with a licensed operator such as us, Need a Skip Now, you would notice that we don't only have our own recycling waste facility, but we dispose of rubbish properly as the law prescribes. If, according to EPA website, if you find a supplier who is extremely cheap and by a big margin cheaper than everyone else, chances are they are not disposing of rubbish correctly or in a lawful way. You definitely need to always ask, where is my rubbish going? What happens to the bin once it's been picked up from my site? Because according to EPA's new ruling, it is the responsibility of the consumer, whether you are a builder or a residential customer moving house, the responsibility is on you to make sure you employ a licensed waste supplier who will dispose of your waste in a correct and legal way. Now, on a good side, we are all, we are all positive that hopefully the war in Ukraine will end and the fuel prices will stabilize and the travel will resume and more international students and workers will come to Australia and fulfill all the labor shortages, and that finally everything will stabilize. So not everything is bad. The good thing is our building industry is still booming. People are still cleaning houses, people are still renovating, and we are here to find more ways to recycle, more ways to save you money, because by recycling the product, we are able to dispose of it cheaper than taking everything to clean away. We try to recover as many materials as possible so that we can take them for further processing and give life to these products. It's called circular economy, where we try to give, for example, your bricks and concrete, they can be crushed and turned into rubble, which can in turn be used in roads which are being built here in Victoria and other parts of Australia. So we are working very hard to always innovate and improve our recycling processes and pass on any savings to our customers, so that we can continue supporting our builders, our landscapers, our traders, do-it-yourself renovators, people who move in houses. So we are onto it. We are moving forward. Prices are increasing everywhere, as we've discussed, not only in skip bin hire, but also in supermarkets, in anywhere and anything where transport is involved and people are involved. And that's pretty much in all industries here. We hope that this information has given you enough details as to why prices have gone up since last year for skip bin hire and Melbourne. However, let us assure you that in addition to that, our efforts have gone up as well, and you will be getting a lot of value for money when dealing with us for your rubbish disposal. If you have any questions, please give us a call. We're in Melbourne, a skip bin hire company. Our website is needeskipnow.com.au. Our phone number is 1300 605 624. And we're here to answer any of your questions. We're here to help you with any skip bin hire for any waste type, apart from asbestos and food, but any builders, landscapers, traders, residential waste type. And we look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you for listening to Talking Trash with Lucy. Until next time.